And in this episode, work on the unibody continues. And continues. And continues. What's up, guys? It's Alex with Extreme, back with another episode of the WJ build. Now, you didn't see us last week, and that's because tax time just hit us here at the shop. And what that means is it's a full-on Armageddon. Everybody gets their tax money back, and they want wheels and tires. So we had to get a lot of different orders taken care of. And now that we're back on track, got all our other online customers taken care of, we're back here in the garage. Now, the guys have been working steady at the underside. Now, when we were talking about a couple weeks ago getting the unibody all finished up, it needed a lot more work. We'll be honest. I mean, it was one of those things where we thought, all right, we got a couple more days into this and we're done. But after seeing the extent of the rust underneath this thing, and I mean, a lot of you WJ guys out there probably know, you know, when it comes to a Jeep that's been out in the elements that long, it's gonna see that normal rust. So what we ended up doing is going back through the whole lift kit and making sure that everything was gonna be solid. Now, we ran into an issue where the track bar bracket that we had gotten from Ironman 4x4 Fab had actually torn from the Jeep customer using it last year out on the trail. So we ended up going back through that, doing some different things. But this week's exciting because we got word back from the customer now that he wants to go with the bigger tires. So maybe it was because you guys out there in the comments that decided, you know, to recommend something bigger as far as going with a 20-inch wheel. So now we're getting a set of 37, 12.5, 20 ridge grapplers on those tough wheels. So it's gonna be really exciting to see those get in this week. We're gonna be test fitting the 37 up on the roof rack this episode, making sure that all works, and we got a badass battery going in the back. So now that we have our power source figured out for all the accessories, you know, we're gonna be getting that fabbed in. Now, it's been steady work on the subwoofer box as well, so we're gonna be showing you a little bit of that, and you know, a whole lot more work coming. So guys, check out this episode. We hope you enjoy it. Boom. Now, a lot of people asking, why did we save the spare tire compartment? Well, the main reason being is because we knew we were going to use a really big battery. We just didn't know how big at the time, and now we got the battery in front of us, so we can really plan out how we want to utilize this space the most. Now, I know a lot of people were saying you got to tuck the tank on these, but with as much lift as this Jeep has, it didn't seem to make sense, especially because we're going to have so much going on here in the back compartment. But, you know, seeing the battery sitting there now for the first time and actually getting our measurement, you know, we're looking pretty good. Now, I'm going to grab something real quick to run across the top. Let's see, where do I got something over here? Well, that didn't work very well, Lucky. I don't have what just keep looking for it. Sometimes half the time is just running around trying to find what you need. All right, found what we need. I mean, I would have to say that's just about perfect. So what we're looking at, and what was my biggest concern, is the height of the battery was 9 inches, and fitting that down in here. Now, we can't drop this compartment any lower to really make it work, but what we can do is create a subfloor up here that's just a little bit higher to be able to house, you know, all the electronics that are going to be in here, because we're going to have to run side post terminals, so we'll convert these over to side posts. Now, again, people probably ask, why didn't you go side post to begin with? But they don't make a battery this size in side post that we can find through Excess. So it's not a huge deal since we're bringing the subfloor up anyway. Now, the subwoofer is going to be on this side, and it's going to come out to about here. So what we're thinking is dividing this spare tire compartment up into maybe 2 spaces. Again, those switches are going to run all the different lights on here, as well as the compressor and the air lockers. So we definitely went with an upgraded box for that. All right, so we're getting down in here, because I wanted to show everybody really where all the work has been going into. Can I steal the camera and be the videographer for a second? All right, so guys, I want to show you just how nice the unibody looks now. Now, again, we're gonna have people saying, well, why did he spend all this money? Well, when you're spending that much money, you know, why not do it right? And this unibody is definitely gonna last a lot longer. Now, this isn't your straight off the shelf kit anymore. Now, DBM makes this kit, but they only go so far, and when you want to really strengthen the unibody on a WJ, it's going to require a lot more fabrication, and that's what we found out with this build. Now, you could keep going and going, but we pretty much have gotten every last bit of trouble area on this thing. You know, I got my man, the hood on the other side, getting it all set up so that, you know, that side's going to look as good as this side. I'm pretty sure our fabricator might quit if he has to keep welding on this thing, because he's sick of laying on his back doing the intermediate pieces, which have turned out to be way harder than the rest of the unibody strengthening kits as far as fabrication goes. Because when you're putting in the frame stiffeners, they don't come with all the holes and everything marked out to work with all the different cross member supports, you know, all the different bracketry that comes with the lift kit. I mean, Iron Rock Offroad did a great job designing their kit, but a thing a lot of people don't know or maybe have experienced is that, you know, you're threading up into a unibody and you gotta somehow get your finger all the way up in that little spot and get that bolt going. And it seems easy in theory, but when you gotta transfer all those holes over to the pieces and make sure that you're not gonna have to go back in and figure out something after the fact, there was a ton more to it. So, you know, strengthening a unibody on a WJ, we definitely learned a lot. And if, you know, people have questions out there on how it's done, feel free to hit us up or give us a shout, because we'll be able to tell you now on these WJs what to do and what not to do, and definitely what to look out for. All right, so one thing that we were working on this week was getting these side panels all finished up. Now, they were done a couple weeks ago, but we wanted to make sure that they would be as waterproof as possible. We didn't want any water getting in, because all the electronics are going to be on the back side of this. So one of the cool things, at least I thought, was we were able to find the same kind of button heads that were on the Bushwhacker flares to match it all together. Now, we do have to work this in a little bit here once we throw this back flare on, because it's going to have to get modified to work with the rear bumper. So we pulled the rear bumper back off, and now we're getting this set up to get modified. The other side's got a couple more wires to get pulled through, because again, we're running all the electrical on the roof rack through the inside of the tubing on these rub rails down into the cab. So that's something a little different. We thought a cool way to tuck the wires, but right now we're working on that. We're getting the rear all dynamatted, so it'll all be soundproofed, and then we'll get that subwoofer back in, and we're excited to see what it does. So when we're building a Jeep in real time like this, we've found through trial and error now that there's a ton of different things that come up, and when working with that in a filming schedule, it's not always the easiest as far as exciting content. So we appreciate your guys' patience with these episodes as far as some of the other you know, bits and pieces that we've added in there. Now, we think this thing, when it's all done, is going to be really badass, and I think you're going to enjoy it as much as we are. So again, appreciate you guys watching the series. If you've been watching since the beginning, it's really turning out to be an awesome Jeep. We think it's one of the cooler WJs, at least in our area. But let us know in the comments what you think. Is this thing you know, going to be trail worthy in your opinion? Is it a pretty badass WJ? Let us know in the comments, and we'll see you guys in the next episode.